Bless you. Thanks, everyone. Please have a seat. First of all, thank you in advance for your respectful comportment for the entire evening. Respect for everyone is the expectation, not just for your team. I know we can do that. 60 years ago, 1959, Vince Lombardi, legendary coach of the Green Bay Packers NFL football team, gave a quote so famous that most of you in this room have heard it. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. 2 years ago, in 2017, Eric Van Dyke said the following. I disagree. Now, most of you don't know about my quote, because I'm not Vince Lombardi. I've got really strong opinions on winning and competition in high school sports, but no matter how hard I try, I don't know how to express my views in a way that will really hit home with people, really stick with people, that might even change the way that you feel about the importance of winning. But luckily, other people do express themselves well. So I found this. I was going through our senior girls basketball locker room, end of the season. Miss Wolf had put it up. It's an anonymous passage. No one knows who wrote it, but it sums things up better than I ever could. It's called, A Parent Talks to a Child Before the First Game. This is your first game, my child. I hope you win. I hope you win for your sake, not mine. Because winning's nice. It's a good feeling, like the whole world is yours. But it passes this feeling. And what lasts is what you've learned. And what you learn about is life. That's what sports is all about, life. The whole thing is played out in one afternoon. The happiness of life, the miseries, the joys, the heartbreaks. There's no telling what'll turn up. There's no telling whether they will toss you out in the first 5 minutes or whether you will stay for the long haul. And there's no telling how you will do. You might be a hero. You might be absolutely nothing. There's just no telling. So too much depends on chance and on how the ball bounces. I'm not talking about the game, I'm talking about life. And in life, you do your best, you take what comes, and you run with it. Winning is fun, sure. But winning is not the point. Wanting to win is the point. Not giving up is the point. Never being satisfied with what you've done is the point. Never letting anyone down is the point. Play to win? Sure. But lose like a champion. It's not winning that counts. What counts is trying. So when you look at it that way, there are important lessons that you learn from sports. And there are many, many people here at Stanstead College who are committed to helping you learn those lessons, who support athletics, who support you. Mrs. Perron and Mrs. Perusse in the health center, your physiotherapist, Miss Boudreau and Miss Laney, all the good, all the great people in maintenance, in the kitchen, the laundry staff, and our drivers. Mr. Blair and Mrs. Wilkinson for their enthusiastic commitment to cross-country skiing. Miss Campbell for introducing yoga to the athletic program for the first time ever. Namaste. Miss Maggs and Laura Tang and Leo Lee and James Chadwick for all their volunteer work as minor officials for basketball, the Skittles crew. Mrs. Wolf, who helps me in athletics, who I could not live without. Miss Alta Sheldon, you may have heard of her, who makes it all happen at the gymnasium. And of course, your incredibly dedicated coaches who care about your team's success, but who care more about you. All of these people help every one of you get the most out of your Stanstead College athletics experience, and I'd ask that you show your appreciation to all of them with a heartfelt round of applause. All right, now on to the ceremony. Our first program to be recognized, speaking for junior boys basketball, Mr. Winquist.
At the beginning of the season, I must admit, things didn't look so promising. It was a new coach, entering a new league, with players who were much older than our own. We knew right away that the year was going to be a real challenge. As a team and coach, we decided to work on things that we can control. And so we created our goal for the season, and that was to improve every week. Our first 2 games were absolute blowouts, outscored by almost 50 to 70 points. Improvement was accelerated when I approached 2 older boys, Justin Laforce and Michael Rioux, to come play with us. This gave our team some size and physicality that we desperately needed. But it also helped our younger guys gain confidence because they were practicing and learning from them every single day. The next couple of games saw drastic improvements. Instead of blowouts, our losses were much more competitive. In practice as well, we were making our layups at a more consistent rate, our passes were crisper, and our shooting was going in the basket more often. Then came the game versus BCS. Need I say more about our rivalry against BCS? This game was circled in our calendar since the beginning, and boy, it did not disappoint. It was a back and forth game with many lead changes. Justin hit 2 clutch free throws to bring us into overtime. In overtime, David Rioux hit a clutch 3 to give us the 1-point win. With more wins against Servite and Massé-Vanier, things seemed to look up. Now, it was the BCS tournament. And this time, it was the Bantam's turn to shine. There would be no Justin, Michael, and Gabriel Mate, who were ineligible, nor 2 of our starters, Trevor Laforce and David Rioux, who were down with injury. We lost by a respectable score to the eventual champion Selwyn House and then lost again to Richmond. But we refused to put our heads down. We had BCS in the 5th place game in their home tournament. We couldn't lose that one. Again, it was back and forth, and so of course, it went to overtime. And this was only a 1-minute overtime, so we knew 1 basket would win us the game. With our big man Diego driving in the paint, he made an amazing layup that won us the game. Justin Bouchard was named a tournament all-star. Even with all our injuries and the loss of our top junior players, we proved our goal was a success. Our team did improve every week. I couldn't mention all of you guys, but I'm proud of every single one of you. Congrats on the season. Also a thank you to team managers Peter Kai and Fred Mignot. Now for the individual awards. Our first player is a junior age player. At first, he was on his way to having a cross-country season with Mr. Blair and Miss Wilkinson. But when Mr. Van Dyke approached me about bringing in some junior age players, Justin Laforce immediately came to mind. He had hinted he wanted to play basketball at the beginning of the year in history class. And boy, he did not disappoint. An all-around presence, scoring, rebounding, defending, and most of all, being a great leader to these younger guys. Justin, you are a Junior S Award winner. This player right here has the potential to be a real all-star in the future. At only 12 years old, he was playing against competition that were 3 years older than him, and he did not look out of place. A shooting maestro with great vision and good basketball instincts, this player was a treat to watch and see grow. He never got down, even though we lost badly at the beginning of the year, and he was our most vocal defender. A young captain, the future is bright with this kid. Baron, you are a Junior S Award winner. Finally, El Capitano. Right away, I was amazed at this kid's leadership skills. He would lead warm-ups and made sure everyone was paying attention during practice. He was also a player players could look up to, as he went all out every practice and game, putting his body on the line. At first, he was a great defender, rebounder, and passer, but don't ask him to shoot or make a layup. But with our team goal of improving every week, he suddenly, over time, was able to make layups consistently, and while not perfect, could make shots. It was the development of a leader who could do the little things right to a leader who became a complete player. Diego, you are a Junior S winner and the winner of the Sportsmanship Award of this team. Congratulations.
Thank you, Coach. Next up, junior girls basketball, Miss Hessian.
They always say don't move the microphone, but I'm 5'4". Basketball is a numbers game. Seasons are often quantified by wins and losses. We had both. For the players on this team, they had to learn the numbers too. They had to learn about ones and twos and threes and fours and fives and where they had to go to be ones and twos and threes and fours and fives. They had to fight against the numbers in our league, as we are a team of 13 with 8 Bantam-age players fighting each game against other older and often more experienced teams. They had to learn to play on the road, as we played more than twice the number of games on the road than we did in the Mackay Gymnasium. And they had to learn the numbers in practice. Games of 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, games of 3-on-5 keep away, games of 21, games of 10 foul shots, conditioning drills, hundreds of passes, and numbers like 17 and 11 and 9. I'm sure you're never soon to forget. Warm-up sinking anywhere from 7 to 40 layups for my 40th birthday. And with all these numbers, there's still quite a lot that I could not count. The lessons learned, the laughter shared, and the friendships that will last you a lifetime. A big thank you from all of us to Miss Alta Sheldon for being so awesome, to Mr. Van Dyke and Mrs. Wolf for organizing our season, to the health center and the transportation teams, to Miss Mag and the Skittles crew, to Emma for the lollies, and much more. And a big thank you from me to you, the players, for being yourself. For the awards portion, I have 2 awards. Awards is always a challenging part of finalizing a season. For me, it's especially challenging because the awards are not what I will remember. What I will remember is a piece of each of you, of Bella catching and making a pass at Richmond, Mariama's dipsy doodle layups, Coralie's step back give and go, Amanda stealing the ball, Cannon's incredible layup at home, Crystal's turn and shoot move, Sage's rebound revelation, Gloria's full court press, Ava's Euro step, Lucy's low post moves, Haley turning to the right foot, and Ella's behind the back dribble. That being said, at this time, I would like to invite 2 award winners to come up and receive your awards. For a Junior S, Mariama Berry, and for a Sportsmanship Award, Coralie Duguay.
Before calling up the first hockey program of the evening, I'd like to invite our Director of Hockey Operations, Mr. Rioux, to come up and say a few words. Mr. Rioux.
Thanks very much, Mr. Van Dyke, our Athletic Director, for his support, always being there to listen throughout the season. Alta, Carol, Maida, staff at the laundry, Eve and the kitchen crew, Stefan and Jean, our driving team, Jose, Sonia, Holly, Dr. Charest, the health center. Special thanks to Dr. Marc Bouchard for going above and beyond to save many of our athletes long hospital waits this year. He was truly amazing. Mark and Mario, Josh, David at the arena, Olivia and Jad Sarah, our physiotherapists, Eric Castonguay, our head official, Mr. Murray for his continued support with communications, Ms. Campbell, our yoga teacher, Sean Willett, our guest goalie coach, Mr. Angeliti, our strength coach, and lastly, Tatsu, Moritz, and Ho Lee for always being there for all of our game day operations. The 2018-19 hockey season was an exceptional year for Stanstead Hockey. It was our 125th anniversary of hockey at the school, perhaps something that's gone unnoticed. Our teams achieved great success, while many of our student athletes earned individual opportunities to play junior hockey or NCAA or CIS college hockey. In fact, many current and former Spartans represented their provincial teams and even at the national level. 2 even won a gold medal at the World Championships, while 3 recently a silver at the Canada Games. When looking at our current alumni, countless men and women are currently playing on junior teams or in college now. In particular, 3 boys from last year are presently on the NHL draft list for June, and 1 was just named Rookie of the Year in the BCHL. There will be many other big stories to come, as this spring will be an exciting time for some of our younger players come draft time. In a nutshell, Stanstead Hockey is vibrant, exciting, things are happening. The school name is out there, and Stanstead College is developing an even stronger reputation for excellence at both the boys and girls levels. But most importantly, all of our student athletes have had the opportunity to be a part of a team within a fantastic school that is Stanstead College, with the opportunity to study and experience new things with so many amazing people. That's the big reward, the journey, the experience. Too many times we've heard stories of people leaving early and saying, gosh, I should have stayed. Now some more thank yous. Thank you to Coach Vero and Charest for your efforts with the Bantam team. This was a positive year for those young men, and your efforts haven't gone unnoticed. Thank you to the varsity coaches for their dedication and tremendous efforts throughout what has been a very busy season, enduring much travel and time off campus. Coach Poliziani and Thompson have done a terrific job with their boys, and I want to wish all of you and the players a successful experience this weekend at the National Independent Schools Invitational Tournament in Toronto. In their first year together, I'm most thankful for the exceptional work that Coach Pimm, Jacobson, and Sharman have accomplished as a first-year staff. Well done to all of you and your girls. Truly an impressive record and season. Lastly, thank you to the amazing teachers for all of your support and guidance working with our student athletes this year. And thank you to all of you, the student body, for being the best fans at the Past Burns Arena and supporting all of our teams. And now, Monsieur Charest and Vero with the Bantam Hockey Program.
Good evening, everybody. First, I would like to thank all the people who contribute to the success of this great season. This year we played 12 games. We won 9 of them and lost 3. This is our best record since I began coaching the Bantam Supersonic Spartans. And it is because of you, players. Where are you guys? Oh, over there. But also because of all the caring people that surround you. Here are some of them. Mr. Rioux, who made this season possible. Coach Varro, who brought so many positive things to the team. Your parents, Mr. Angelity, all the faculty and staff at the school who encourage and promote your athletic development. I cannot name everybody since there are so many and it would take too long. However, you should be grateful to have the privilege to play and to participate in such a beautiful and supportive environment. This season, we had a good team spirit. We had fun and we all worked hard together. We had a great bunch of kids. We were not always consistent, no. How could we lose 1-7 against Eagle Brook and then beat the exact same team 7-1 one day later? We were not always all there. Remember that loss, 2-7 against Galt. We ended the game with 9 guys on the bench. It's not that much for hockey. Overall, we had many games in which each and every player gave his best effort and commitment. I want to thank our rookies this season. Presley Langevin, William Towner, William Morrison, Joseph Riddle, Fernando Chiquito Ponce, Howard Gu. Special thanks to our substitute goalie, Martin Lefebvre, for one day. Yeah, good job. He stepped up like a real Spartan, a true Spartan, and helped us in our only victory against Galt this season. Boys, you gave a boost to our team. I want to thank the older guys who came and support the younger ones. Captain Nick Pokora, the pillar of that team. Good job, Nick. The prep team boys, Holy, Maurice Schilling, and David Blais. Thank you so much. And I want to thank our returning players. They all improved their game this season. Kevin Hu, Kevin Meng, Charles Goudreau, Logan Bayas, and of course, with 13 goals scored each, Denis Wittenberg and Dominic Pokora. Good job. That was an awesome season. Kids, thank you. I want to give 2 awards tonight. One for sportsmanship and one Bantam Hess. All my junior players should notice that we have to give Bantam awards, even if all juniors mostly deserve an honorable mention. I will ask the 2 players to come at the same time. So for the sportsmanship award, I want to congratulate a player who gave a lot to the Bantam team during his first season. He battles at all times and never complains. For sportsmanship, I name William the Border Towner. Yeah. And for the Bantam S, without any hesitation and for a second year in a row, I name Dominic the Terrific Pokora. Please come in front and get your award.
Senior Girls Division III Basketball, Miss Perusse.
So first of all, I would like to say thank you to all the staff in the health center who works hard to make sure that our season would be successful. And I have some special thanks to give. So first of all, Mr. Van Dyke and Miss Wolf for the practice schedule. Miss Hessian team, they help us during this season in almost every game by coming to play with us. Thanks to the girls who volunteer to come play more basketball and who always try their hardest in an advanced level. Also, Miss Hessian, thanks for your openness about trading player and practicing together. That was the only time in the season that we can play 5-on-5. Miss Alta, she could be lost at one point. We had New Jersey every single game. You would wake up so early to wash the uniforms and come to say good luck to the girls, which the entire team really appreciate. Mr. Liverpool, who came to Montreal for a tournament, even if we had only 5 players. He was really supportive, and every girl really appreciate his dedication. And finally, the best assistant coach ever, Emily Norris. I found not only an assistant coach, but a really good friend, and I hope this friendship will stay for the rest of my life. Whew. So Emily makes me laugh in every dramatic moment or when we were completely discouraged about a situation like injuries. She always listened and supported me in every situation of my life. This season would not be the same without you. Thank you so much. And now let's talk about our season. At first, I would like to say that this season was one of the most challenging throughout my 12 years of coaching. The result of our team is not represented by the winning games. For your information, we won twice. How a season could be successful with only 2 winning games? I was like most of you, thinking it is impossible, but my opinion changed, and this is why. What is the definition of winning? The definition in the dictionary is to obtain a prize in competition, and it's written usually by luck or effort. In this definition, we have the word effort. I started coaching when I was 20 years old, and I told my player what the most important things I've learned about basketball is that effort plus attitude equals success. The team who will put the most effort on the court and have the best positive attitude will have success, not only by winning game. If you give all your effort and you have a positive attitude, you will be proud of yourself. I've been telling my player this for the past 11 years of coaching, and I just realized this season its true meaning. Here's a short summary of our season. We start with 10 players, which some of them having no basketball experience. I will always remember our first game à la Poudrière, sorry. Not only could the bus driver not find the place, but all the doors were locked. We start the game, and Juliette, Cici, and Julianne asked me this question. Miss, what I'm supposed to do? What's the rule? Juliette was talking to the ref, and she actually told the ref that he was mixed up. First game. Cici went on the basketball court without the authorization of the ref, like a hockey substitution. Julianne told me, I don't want to play. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Then I tried to score in the wrong basket. Charlotte, Tammy, and Rosalie, who tried to explain the rules at the same time as they were playing. Sophia, Sumomo, and Antonia just had a big smile on their face and just trying to do the best that they could. I can tell you this game was a big mess. We tried so hard and finally lost by only 15 points. I realized at this point that our team will be a killer team. We start to practice the fundamentals step by step for month and month. We play, and every time we never give up. I would mean even if we were losing by a lot, we had somebody on the bench who was putting more effort, and it was contagious for the rest of the team. Antonia left just before Christmas, and the nightmare started. Every game we had injuries, and some players could not play. We played a tournament with only 5 players. I don't know if you realize, but we played 5 games of 40 minutes without substitution. To add to this moment, we played our best game of the season against BCS. Everybody on the team can remember. Also, we came back late on Saturday exhausted, and we had a league game on Sunday. Thanks, Marima, who came and saved us. At this tournament, we understood what effort really means. Those girls never gave up, even if they were tired, sore, and they never complained. We had no roller coaster, and by far. I was talking with Mr. Liverpool, and at this point I realized how we were lucky to have those girls on our team. They worked together, and they were always there for each other like a big family. After all the snowstorm, we have to make up for postponed games. Actually, the nightmare was not over. We played 5 games in 5 days. Some of the junior girls came up to help us. Our team always welcomed them and took of their personal time to explain defensive and offensive strategy. They never give up in every situation. We didn't win a lot, but we were probably the most unlucky team on campus this season. For me, ladies, we won more than 1 game. We put so much effort, and you all always had a smile on your face. Effort plus attitude equals success make definite sense of our season. I hope you will continue to play basketball next year. So right now for the awards, that was really a hard decision. In my mind, everybody deserves an award for their effort, but we can't. So the first awards will be the Sportsmanship Award. So the Sportsmanship Awards goes to positive person. These girls never give up, even if she was getting mad after the refs because of 4 fouls. She is an aggressive player on the court, and she always wants the ball. She was cheering on the bench and tried to fix all the problems on the team. Even if it was a dramatic situation, she always had the words to make the team smile. And the referees. The Sportsmanship Awards go to Juliette Veilleux. Now, the first senior S. The first senior S will go to a girl who works hard in the game and in practice. She always tried to push herself to be better. She probably has the best cardio of all the team. She tried to make a good decision and was not afraid to attack the basket. For many games, she had no substitution. When she did a bad pass or a bad decision, you can hear her on the court. No, sorry. When she get in match, she always say, "Miss, she pushed me. She's crazy." For her perseverance and her effort, the first senior has go to Tere. And the last Senior S award will go to a girl who made great improvements during this season. This girl is super athletic and just wants to learn. At the beginning of the season, she could not do a layup and didn't know the rules of basketball. Against the game of BCS, she blocked more than 5 balls against girls taller than her. She started also to score in the second part of the season. I hope she will continue to play basketball. So the second Senior S awards go to Juliane Legault. Ladies, you can come in the front. Thank you.
Now, speaking for the Prep Boys hockey team, Mr. Rioux.
Thanks again. I'd like to thank my co-coaches, Logan Vanasse and Guy Ouellette. Guy couldn't be here tonight, but Coach Vanasse is right here, for their consistent efforts, outstanding work throughout yet another busy season. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, Logan, and hope we get to continue doing this for a long time. Season overview, 22-15, 1-4, 13-6, 1-2 in the league. Currently in 3rd place out of 10 teams. This time last year, we had 33 points and we were in 5th place. Fast track to today, we sit in 3rd place with 41 points. So teams progressed and we sit in a real good situation with playoffs looming coming after the break. So we can really summarize our season with 3 anecdotes, 3 key points. The first, every loss this year has come by less than 2 goals. We've competed each and every game and been ultra competitive all year. Half of those 2 goals losses were empty nets, and I think the Stanstead team is one that never quits. It's real difficult to play against. Second, adversity in Lake Placid. In early January, we played 4 games in a tournament in Lake Placid, and I think some real important lessons for both the coaches and the players came out of that. And from that moment onward, our team has been more focused on the details that matter most and not simply on wins and losses. I think we've matured a lot since then. Many of our most talented players have learned what it means to be a true Spartan and play hockey at the school. Talent and performance without the right attitude or behavior means very little. Body language and comportment, when times are difficult, matter most, and without question, trump scoring goals and winning. And I think that our most talented players have come a long way. Still have some ways to go, but the progress has been noticeable. And lastly, third point, Sunday, March 3rd, just a few days ago, our team fully came together as a team, and although it took months to happen, every player on the bench showed exceptional joy and admiration for each other. As simple as this may sound, when 3 forwards who traditionally play less and never ever on the power play all got to start a late power play in the game, our entire bench cheered and genuinely were happy for these young men. This would have never happened a few weeks ago. It certainly wouldn't have happened a few months ago. And I think it goes to show how much that the entire group has matured. Awards are never easy to give out. This year's no exception. Please wait until the end and come up as a group. The Prep Boys Sportsmanship Trophy is awarded to 2 players who work hard each and every shift and are positive forces for good, day in, day out. They're scholars, leaders, gentlemen. Martin Lefebvre and Andrew Bouchard. We're awarding 4 senior awards tonight for consistency, leadership, performance, moreover supported by a vote from their peer group. Jaden Mullins, Alexi Daniel, Dante Pellegrino, and Evan Gass. Please come forward. Merci beaucoup, les gars. Get your beach towels ready.
The next program is the first program that can award Major S awards. So if an individual does win a Major S, it is a standing ovation for that person. Speaking for squash, Monsieur Prevost.
Students, dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank all the people who were involved in making this squash season successful. Mr. Blair was by my side, Mr. Van Dyke for his support, Miss Perrault and Miss Perron, and obviously Mrs. Sheldon for her daily presence. Thank you. We started the season with 4 girls and 14 boys, 5 of which were returning players. We welcome new students who had different levels of skills in racket sports, although squash was new to them. This year, our top players participated in 3 competitions against BCS and in 1 provincial tournament, in which some of the best players in the province were participating. Our players were Philippe Martel and Matthew Little, who managed to be our best male players. Grégoire Malbezin, a former tennis player who quickly learned the nuts and bolts of squash. And finally, Eric Wang, Patrick Young, and Patricio Tamayo, who not only became fierce competitors, but also demonstrated good team spirit during the whole season. That said, the squash team is more than a group of selected people participating in tournaments. It also includes a larger group of recreational players who are involved on a daily basis. We remember Fritz Dietrich and Kiran Scheidegger and their quiet personality esteemed by the whole team. Mari Yoshizawa and Arisa Shimada, who spent as much time on the court as they did in the weight room, working hard. Fernanda Rivas and Valentina Gaudry's laughter that gave spirit to our practices. The same can be said about Antonio Dici and Fernando Cano, who were loud fellows on and off the court. We also remember Jackie and Shawi Shu. Yeah. Jackie and Shawi, who got along as if they were twin brothers. Obviously, there was Marc-Antoine Mayotte, who was smiling most of the time. And Angel Papadopoulos, who was very serious all the time. Sincerely, I would very much like to thank you and commend you all. We had a good season together. Mr. Blais and I enjoyed the time being your coaches. It's now time to give the awards to the deserving students. This year we will have 4 of them, the Sportsmanship Award and 3 Senior S's. I would like to invite Coach Blais to give the awards, please.
Thank you, Coach Prevost. The first Senior S Award goes to a young man who's been on the team for the last 3 years. Not only did Matthew L.G. progress as a player as he grew up, but he finished the season as our #1 player on our ladder. At the same time, he was one of the youngest players on the team. His season's highlight happened at the provincial tournament where he finished 3rd in his category. Our second Senior S Award goes to Philippe Martel. A veteran of 2 seasons on the team, Philippe was the best senior player this year. He dominated the court as a fierce competitor who took the game very seriously. Our third Senior S Award goes to Grégoire Malbezin. Not only did Grégoire prove to be one of the top players on the team, but we have seen in this boy an important change in his overall outlook that allowed him to become a team player. Grégoire learned how to enjoy the game and contribute to the group in a positive way. Finally, the Sportsmanship Award goes to Patricio Tamayo. On the team, Pato was the glue that allowed all individuals to form a group. Appreciated by his teammates, we have never seen him on a grumpy day. Rather, Pato is a super motivator who has the gift to be able to laugh even at his bad shots. Matthew, Philippe, Grégoire, and Pato, please come up and get your awards.
Thank you, coaches. Speaking for the volleyball team, Mr. Spirk.
Okay, first I'd like to thank Ms. Alta, Mr. Van Dyke, and Mrs. Wolf for all their organization and hard work throughout the season. Also, thank you to Matthew Lunt, who's been a great sidekick and friend on road trips. This year marked the first official season for senior girls volleyball. It would be our first opportunity to be in a league and to play in our very first tournament. It was exciting times for this new program, but also nerve-wracking as we only had 5 returning players, all of whom were rookies to the game last year. At the first practice, things looked a little grim. No one was super keen on setting, the returning players looked a little rusty, and the new players were not sure what was going on. My hopes and dreams were secretly crashing inside my head. My thoughts were along the lines of, we entered a league and have a game in 10 days, and we can't even keep the ball off the ground for 3 hits or create a rally. Oh boy. Over the course of a week or so, things started to come together. Kenya stepped up and said she would set, returning players found their stride, and the new players worked hard to figure out the game. Entering our first days of games, we were definitely nervous. We had our fair share of mistakes and run-ins with the referee, but as a whole, we left there with 4 wins and 4 losses. The highlight was upsetting the first-seeded team, Salesian. After that experience, we came back to school and put in systems to get ready for the rest of the year. It was impressive to watch this group of girls come together as a team. Due to exams, we competed in our second tournament with a mixed bag of players, thank you hockey girls, from around the school and suffered a humbling string of losses. Luckily, that brought us to the December break where we could refocus and get ready for January. It was impressive to see the enthusiasm for volleyball upon our return from break. We knew it was the real start to our season. First up was our first home game in the Mackay Gym against our friends from BCS. It was one of my favorite memories as I was able to sit back and watch all the hard work pay off. The girls played incredible and won all 3 sets 25-10, 25-16, and 25-21. The following week, we headed to BCS where the winning continued 2 sets to 1. We then headed to St. John's High School to compete in our first ever tournament and did incredibly well. We lost to Heritage High School 25-22 and 25-23 in a final that could have gone either way. The season continued with a little bit of a low point at the third RSEQ tournament at Rioux. It was a big weekend for me, but unfortunately we lost all 4 games and really looked like we were ready to throw in the towel and call it a season. I was sad as it really felt like the girls had made so much progress. After a few meetings and a definite decision from the group to finish the season strong, we hosted our last home game, home and home with BCS. At Stanstead, BCS struggled to stay in the match. It seemed like everything the girls had learned this year was on display. The team cruised to victory and everyone contributed. A week later, we headed to BCS for our final game where the girls left it all on the court. I realized I had stopped coaching for a minute and was just enjoying a volleyball clinic. Everybody did their job and so many players made highlight reel plays. I will hold on to that memory for a long time. I'll leave you with my 10 favorite moments I had with these 10 crazy Spartans. 10, Dahlia's face when she realized she learned to serve consistently. 9, walking in the gym and seeing Dana practicing in the corner, working hard on improving her game. 8, MK's insane diving bump saves that became more of a routine than a highlight reel play throughout the season. 7, Vicky learning to coordinate her blocks and spikes and finishing so many points by the end of the year. 6, Val's topspin tennis forehand serve that no human being on earth ever wants to receive. 5, Kenya's court presence, setting ability, and vision. 4, Marisol developing the most lethal serve in the league when it went in. 3, Audrey's massive lunchbox of snacks and her consistent play in the front court. 2, Ariadne's happiness when she finally finished a point with a spike. And 1, Ali running off the court after making her first block of the season on her final play of her high school career. You could not write it any better. Thank you to all of you for an unforgettable season. You became like family to me. Like a family, we laughed, we got on each other's nerves, we were happy, grumpy, sad, and sometimes indifferent. But like is so true of all families, when push came to shove, we were there for each other, and we'll always have that bond. A final thank you to the graduating players. Thank you for creating this momentum and being the pioneers for this sport. We hope you will stay connected and come back often to watch and support. Thank you. As for awards, I have a Sportsmanship Award, 2 Senior S's, and a Majoress. The Sportsmanship Award. This award goes to a returning player who not only exemplifies what it meant to be a teammate, She also is an incredible opponent. She is humble in victory and gracious in defeat. She's also someone I have come to appreciate, as she always knows the right thing to say in the worst moment. It's never about winning or losing for Ellie. It's about competing as a unit, supporting her teammates, and being the hardest working person before, during, and after practice. Sportsmanship Award goes to Allison Barlow. The first Senior S goes to a player who started out as a raw talent. The tools were there, but she didn't quite know how to use them. By mid-season, it became apparent that she was starting to figure this game out. By the final game, she was clearly the most feared player at the net, on defense, and finishing off any ball that came her way. The first Senior S goes to Victoria Azar. The second Senior S goes to a player who really was a positive presence on the court. Her game was good in the beginning of the year, but she really became a leader by the end of the season. I hope she decides to return next year, as we could really build a team around her. She has excellent defensive skills and an incredible serve. The second Senior S goes to Valeria Rodriguez. Will you all come up and receive your awards? There's one major S to award this evening. This player was new to the school, but not new to the game. It was evident early on that she had a strong skill set. Kenya was a natural leader by her presence on the court. She played the most minutes as the offense was built around her setting. Many coaches and referees pulled me aside to ask how long she had been playing, and that's a big compliment to her game. It is with great pleasure that I award the first major S sweater for senior girls volleyball to Kenya Deshotel.
Speaking now for the curling team, Mr. Planetta.
Settle down. My goodness. I was hoping to follow Mr. Prevost, that way I wouldn't have to touch the microphone. 11 schnitzels. 11. Nobody's brought that up. I want to thank Mr. Van Dyke and Alta for their support behind the scenes all season. I also want to thank Mr. Rioux. He was new to the school and new to the game, and he made a lot of good observations this winter and some excellent feedback, so I want to thank him. And I also want to thank the team for an entertaining winter of curling. I thought my curling gift was going to be a defibrillator. We had 3 returning players and 8 new players, so it was a bit of a mixture starting off the season. We had basically a 3-to-1 ratio of new people to returning people, and luckily we had a solid core, Matt, Ivy, and Annie, to build a team around. If you know curling, you know that you need at least 4 to take to the ice, so we were going to have to play a rookie right off the bat. But we had Jesse, Laura, and Alicia, who were adapting and always wanted to improve their game. We had Roy, Corey, and Lex, who were always eager to learn, and Thomas and Bantam, who developed their sweeping and throwing skills and ended up helping us out a lot in the front end. The season I had amazingly low expectations, which was a really good way to go into the season. As I said, we had many new players. We had a lot of big shoes to fill from last year, and we had BCS as our first game. So we had just a couple of weeks in some ways to learn the game and gel as a team and then take on our arch rivals. And BCS had our number the last couple of years. We hadn't beaten them in a few years. So we show, and we're away. So we're in their home club. And suddenly it was 6-0 for us, and then 8-0, and then 10-1 for us, and then it was 14-1 for us, and I couldn't believe it. So I thought that we got lucky. You know, a stop clock is still right twice a day. And the real test was going to be about a week later when we played Richmond. They're kids at Richmond. They know the game. They curl themselves. Their parents curl. Their aunts and uncles all curl. They're from the townships. These kids know the game. And we went in there and we won 8-3. So it was like, oh my God, let's get out of here before somebody takes it back. But this was putting us on a collision course to play Massey Vanier, and Massey Vanier was also rolling along as well, racking up wins. So we went there, we were on the road to play Massey Vanier, and we were tied after regulation, and then they beat us by 1 stone in overtime, and then they came to play us here, and we built up a 7-0 lead at home, and you would think that a 7-0 lead would lead to a win, and I wish that the story would end right there, but they came back. They're one of the top teams in the league, and they beat us 8-7. So again, lost by 1 to Massey Vanier. So luckily, though, we had played Richmond and beat them, as I said, and then we played them again and won. So we had 2 wins against Richmond, and when the playoffs rolled around, we had to play Richmond in the first round. So we played them in Lennoxville, and again, tied after regulation. The team that we had beaten twice already in the regular season, tied after regulation. It goes into overtime, and they beat us, as Matt said the other day, they beat us by a stone, but what he should have said was they beat us by an inch. Their stone was about 2.5 centimeters closer to the middle of the circle than our stone, which put us into a different pool to play for bronze. And who did we get to play in bronze was Massey Vanier. So Richmond went on to beat Galt and beat them in the finals for gold 8-4. So we tied them or basically lost to them by that much, and then they went on to win. So it could have been us. But the silver lining at the end of that is that we played Massey Vanier and we finally beat them. So we won the bronze in the playoffs. So I hope that the team had as much fun this winter as I did coaching them, not only racking up wins, but also seeing you develop and improve your game. And I hope that you continue to curl. You know, perhaps in the future you'll find a local curling club in your area, wherever you may be, and seek out the game once again. Is the team even here? I think they may have left. I don't know. Oh, there they are. Never mind. I'll keep talking then. But you certainly exceeded my expectations on this season, and you should be certainly proud of yourselves for how far you've come. And I was thinking back to our first week of curling. Keep in mind, we had to play BCS just after a couple of weeks, and I was thinking how often you fell, you know, and you'd fell and you'd get back up and keep playing, you'd fall and keep back up. And I wish that this was a metaphor for life or sports, but this was literally falling on ice regularly, like just crashing into the ice and then just getting back up. So I'm pleased with your determination. I have a few awards that I want to give out, and I want you all to come up together. First of all, the Sportsmanship Award. This guy improved his game as the season went on. He always brought a polite attitude and a positive outlook to the game constantly. And what really seemed to put it over the top for him when in the politeness and sportsmanship this winter, about halfway through the season or so, he became a Canadian citizen. So a Sportsmanship Award to Bantam, that really seemed to help. He's saying sorry a lot more now. Although he is greeting me every time I see him, even though I just saw him like a minute ago, or even though that he's sitting next to me at the curling club, he's still greeting me with a hello, sir, and I see you. I've got a few Senior S awards that I want to give out. This girl's passionate about the game. She would come to science class. It was never about science. First questions were never about what we need to know for the lesson. It was always, what are we doing in curling that day? When's our next game? How are we doing in the standings? It was a consistent player with a positive attitude, Annie Tang. I also have, we were also lucky to have one of the best skips in the league, totally cool under pressure. She was throwing the last stones for us much of the season. We were lucky to have her, so I have Senior S for Ivy Hu. And then finally, the heart of the team, the guy working with players to improve the whole team, elevating everybody's game, working with skill development. We wanted everybody to succeed and improve as the whole season went on. I don't know where we would be without him, Matt Campbell. So if Mr. Rioux would come up and help me hand out a few awards. Thank you so much. Are you here? I don't need one for Ivy. Got it.
The next program, along with being allowed to give Major S awards, also has an MVP trophy. So the remaining programs all have an MVP trophy as well. Speaking for the swim team, Mr. Bryant.
Thank you. So Mr. Key and I were lucky to have such a great group of student athletes for our novice season. They accepted that we had 0 hours of swim coach experience between us and supported our development as coaches. They were a pleasure to work with. We started with a few seasoned veterans who were helpful to us coaches and the beginners. The team worked so well with each other, at least after they stopped swimming into each other while doing the backstroke. They always had great drive in competition, even the beginners. Early in the season, when some were still belly flopping isn't the best way to start a race. They continued the race swimming their hardest. Some had to learn how to keep their goggles on when they dove in. If they didn't manage it, they still swam as fast as they could. I think Mathieu swam a whole race with his goggles in his mouth early in the season. I'm not sure how he didn't drown. Over the 4 months, the team became more composed, more professional, eliminating the belly flops and starting to swim with excellent technique. We set up the practice sessions and they swam them. We doubled the difficulty and they swam them again. We doubled the difficulty again, they paused for thought, and then they swam again. They stood on the starting blocks at each race with great composure and gave everything for themselves, the team and the school. I'd like to mention everyone briefly. Ariella learned to dive, having started with a running start. Christine had a non-stop work ethic. Mathieu had a drive to improve his technique and speed. Jacob was a powerful talent at the butterfly. Karen was very focused on practice and self-improvement. Marie-Ange joined us late, helped our relay and cheered us on. Anki had tenacity in races. Whoever gets Anki next term is very, very lucky. Buddy came in as our manager and became our secret weapon. And Alex quietly improved each week to find himself competing with our stronger swimmers by the end of the season. I wish to thank the timers who helped us along the way, in particular Victoria and Beatrice for coming to every event and helping us so well. I still haven't mentioned 5 people which I will give awards in 3 chunks. The first person who will come up alone, they had a very good season, so this is the Bantam category. They were consistent, very positive, albeit sarcastic at times, with their approach to training. They contributed greatly to the success of the team. Many occasions when she got out of the pool, she was shocked at how fast she swam. She was a very competitive swimmer and got 2 strong second places in the finals of the 50 and 100 meter breaststroke. Our Bantam S winner, is Simone. So please come up. In our second grouping, we have 3 people with an excellent technique, a great willingness to help others, and helping to bond our team through his captainship. In the finals, he won the 50-meter butterfly and was narrowly beaten into second place in a thrilling 200 meters individual medley. A senior S goes to Oscar. For leading us through the season with great composure and work ethic and speed, he set a high bar for our other swimmers. The finals were partially disappointing for him, but he swam to 2 strong second places in the 50 meters breaststroke and the 100 meters individual medley. Another senior S goes to Nurkin. And also who will come up with them, our loudest and most dedicated supporter and motivator, regularly could be found encouraging others. She's also a very talented swimmer in her own right, and in the championships got a first place in the grueling 100 meters butterfly. Our sportspersonship award goes to Elizabeth. And the last person who I haven't mentioned yet, they're extremely dedicated at practice, keeping a high tempo and often completing the practice sets first and looking for more and more to do. The work ethic deservedly translated to a stellar performance in the championships, which included 2 impressive first place finishes in the 50 and 100 meters breaststroke finals. He's also inexplicably fast at changing back into his school uniform after practice. A 3rd senior S, and also deserving of a standing ovation, our MVP Trustees Trophy goes to Keita.
Representing senior boys basketball, Coach Liverpool.
Good evening, everyone. Where do I begin? I guess I'll start with what my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter, considers bad language. To put it bluntly, this season was poopy. Now, while this may sound a little negative, I don't really mean it that way. I'm merely trying to be as honest as I can about a season that frankly could have gone a little bit better. It's poopy to lose way more games than you win. It's poopy to play the majority of your games at 7:00 p.m. or later. It's a little poopy when you struggle to get everyone on the same page. And it's also poopy to lose a game by the largest margin of your career. Yes, all of these things are indeed poopy, but not every season can be rainbows and unicorns. The takeaway here is to stay positive and face adversity, to strive to get better every day, and to enjoy the climb. Having said this, let's take a quick look at our climb this season. The Beast, Bucatel, scoring 25 points and pulling down 16 rebounds in a dominant performance against the dreaded Bears from BCS. Andre A, raining down threes in his new expensive shoes. Hadley, the fastest guy on the team. Alexi and his Shishtauk. Ryan, the future is bright, young. Hey, they can't all be winners, guys. Come on, give me a break. Gage trying to dunk before every game and never really getting that close. But it's the effort that counts, right? It's the effort that counts. James and his rainbow threes. Lucas, sleeping until after 1:30 p.m. on a Saturday game day. Needless to say, he was not on the bus when it left at 1:35. Nico and his constant improvement day after day. This is a serious one. I really wish I had another year or two with this young man, because I think he could have been something special. Well, he is special and will be, but... Yoshi, constantly looking astonished and amazed. Q, quite possibly the kindest person on the planet. Always apologizing. Sir, sorry I missed that layup. Sir, sorry I didn't get that rebound. Don't apologize. Just get out there, work hard, and do it again. Tyler, or should I say Sonic the Hedgehog, trying to do everything at 1,000 miles a minute. Slow down. Henry, taking his managerial duties to a new level by washing the team uniforms in the laundry room at the hotel at our case tournament at Ridley College. Pretty impressive. And finally, there's one person I've left. Who could forget the Anderson tournament and the NBA two-ball competition in which we were able to crown a champion from our very own school. And this is where I need a little help from you, if you don't mind, a little crowd participation. If you'll join me in congratulating Richard Penn, Richard Penn, Richard Penn, Richard Penn. Thank you very much. That's awesome. What a wonderful moment. That was a wonderful moment, and it was an outstanding way to end somewhat of a challenging season. Seniors, thank you very much for your hard work and dedication, and good luck in all of your future endeavors. Returning players, get in the gym this summer. Why? Ooh, there's nothing wrong with that. That's it. I'm done there. So, I have a few awards. The first award that I will hand out will be the Sportsmanship Award. And for this, I have recycled some of my senior night speeches, which I know not all of you were there for, and I think they're still appropriate, and I think they still deserve to be heard. The Sportsmanship Award this year goes to Quentin Dassault. It has long been my philosophy to fill my roster with good people, not necessarily great players. In the case of Q, wait, there's more. In the case of Q, this couldn't be much truer. While he wasn't the strongest player on the team when he first arrived, Q is arguably one of the best people that I've had the pleasure of working with over the span of my 16-year coaching career. His hard work, which often included many 6 a.m. gym sessions, his effort and his commitment and dedication to the team and to the game itself have gone unmatched. and has allowed him to become a better player on the court, while at the same time making those around him better people off the court, including myself. I'm extremely pleased that our paths have crossed, and I wish him all the best in his future endeavors. Would you please join me in congratulating Quentin Dessel. The next award that I would like to hand out is a Senior S, and this goes to Nicola Del Rio Weinberg. Typical coach speak often refers to the fact that you cannot teach size. So when this 6'5" young man arrived on campus, well, it's needless to say that I was pretty excited. Early season practices revealed that my big man was going to be a bit of a project. Well, that project has been molded and shaped from a once formless piece of clay into a final product deserving of the highest mark. The transformation has been incredible, and it's all due to the hard work and effort that Nico has displayed day in and day out, on and off the court. His end-of-season dominance on the glass at both ends of the floor has been a major component in our team's success. So please join me in congratulating Nico Del Rio Weinberg. My next Senior S goes to Richard Penn. If there was an award for most improved, Richard would be the runaway winner. His progression from last season to this one is nothing short of remarkable. His ability to knock down open shots made those around him better. I am excited to see what the next 2 seasons hold in store for this young man. Congratulations, Richard, and thank you for a wonderful season. That was it, right? I think I just had 3. There's one more. Whoops. Oh, yeah, sorry. And the final Senior S goes to Lucas Etienne. Lucas is the consummate team player who accepts his role regardless of what he is asked to do and goes about it with a quiet confidence that is difficult to replicate. His shooting prowess and defensive tenacity make him a very valuable member of this team. His plethora of defensive deflections and steals will be extremely difficult to replace next season. Perhaps the best thing I could say about Lucas is that he is one of those players that sets the example and leads the way with regard to attitude and comportment. Regardless of what was being asked of him or how it was being asked, Lucas's response was always, "Yes, sir." A coach's dream, Lucas's quiet leadership will sorely be missed. Please join me in thanking Lucas, and if you guys would come on up now, please, to receive your awards. Okay. That's everybody else? Perfect. I have 2 Major S awards to hand out, as well as an MVP. I will start with the first Major S, which goes to Alexis Bernier. Sure. For as much as Alexi and I engaged in confrontational exchanges, we also had a clear mutual respect for each other, and in the end, our goals were the same. Alexi has always been a leader on the floor, and the goal for this season was to work on and improve on other areas of his leadership prowess. As an extension of the coach and my beliefs, Alexi was asked to toe the company line on and off the court. While not quite a finished product, I've witnessed great growth in Alexi's ability to understand what actions are appropriate at any given moment and then proceed to do, quote unquote, the right thing. I will miss our conversations, number one in the program, number one in many hearts, Alexi Bernier. Okay. Yeah.
You want me to move it sideways?
Sure. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm good. I don't want to see them anyways. Should keep that away from the mic, right? Perfect. The final award, or final two awards, is a Major S and the MVP trophy. And this year's MVP trophy and a Major S award winner is Andre Bucatel. I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. One of our most consistent scorers and rebounders, Andre was often looked at as a leader. When focused and on task, when focused on the task at hand, Andre was often unstoppable. Our season would have been drastically different without the effort and leadership Andre brought to each and every contest. Please join me in congratulating your 2018-2019 Varsity Boys Basketball MVP, Andre Bucatel.
Ross got it?
Yeah.
Go on, Andre. Varsity Boys Hockey Coach Thompson.
Clearly the face of disappointment to some. So when I started writing this, someone just got the joke, right? Okay. Cole? When I started writing this speech, I was trying to think of a theme, one thing in particular, and I had a few things come to my mind, and I would try and write and just writer's block, complete writer's block. So I was thinking back to when I was a high school student and in English class, and frankly, my English teachers didn't think too fondly of me, but they don't know everything. So, over time, as I kind of left high school, went through university, started coaching, I ended up getting here, I started to like writing. When it wasn't part of school, I liked writing. And I liked writing specifically about hockey. Coach Pete could attest that I have a couple books in progress, very, very early progress on my phone. I document a lot of things that happen as we go out on the road. I'm very passionate about this hockey program. I'm very passionate about this school. And I find that when I write about these things, things are much easier. I consider myself lucky to be here, lucky to be a member of our school community, to be part of this hockey team. 10 years ago, I took a leap of faith and moved quite a far away from home. I was the first person in my family to move away as well. Without this hockey team, without this school, without coming to Stanstead, quite possibly two of the most important people in my lives and the two people I love the most, I might not ever have met them. If you don't know, I met my wife when she was working at the restaurant at the Pat Burns Arena. So everything comes together. I know. So like all the other seasons before, this season was full of great trips, competition, fun, and meals. In particular at the Golden Corral last Sunday. We found a good buffet. But like any good family, it was also full of a lot of annoyance. You know who you are. All of this kind of brings me back to the idea of like, where was the writer's block? What couldn't I get out onto the paper that I really wanted to get out? And the best answer that I could think of is that I think what I really want to write about hasn't happened yet. And I'm hoping that come Sunday, it will have happened. So that's the challenge that I give to the gentleman sitting over there. But then I also realized that as a coach, my job is really done with. Now it's their turn to try and do that. So I shouldn't be writing about the finished product. I should more be writing about the process of getting there. So here is what I have. This past week, Coach Poliziani spoke to the team about Mike Johnson, the former coach of the Portland Winterhawks and Pittsburgh Penguins. Prior to the WHL playoffs many years ago, Coach Johnson had this message for his team. We have a credo here, that we will enter the playoffs well prepared, and we have done so throughout the season. There's no reason to be nervous, because we've done everything we can in practice, everything we can in meetings, everything we can in off-ice training to prepare for these moments we're going to face. Our development model here is very similar to this, and I think that Monday to Thursdays have prepared us for what is to come. What you do each and every time you hit the ice when no one else is watching really does matter, despite what Allen Iverson might say about practice. With that said, I have truly enjoyed watching you practice and prepare, seeing you compete and getting better day by day. I have enjoyed seeing you take those lessons and Coach P's rules of thumb and apply them in the game. It is at these moments that a coach knows that they have done a good job. I'll conclude with a very short story about a former NHL player, referee, prep school, and Ivy League graduate by the name of Paul Stewart. Stewie learned how to skate wearing his big sister's skates. Eventually, a Christmas or two later, his parents gave him his first pair of brand new skates. He refers to these skates as the best present ever because they were his passport to life. They took him from prep school to the NCAA, the WHA, the NHL, and then again to the NHL as a referee for 1,000 games. We may not all be lucky enough to have the hockey success that Stewie has had, but don't stop trying, don't stop dreaming, and don't stop preparing. If you love the game will bring you a lifetime of memories, and this season will simply be a chapter in that book. Use your skates and your pencil to take you where you want to go. We're going to give out a few awards, and I will say I find it difficult to give the explanations of why some of the people get awards. So if you think they're short and sweet, there might be a reason. Frankly, I think a lot of what in giving awards is the things that coaches see in the day in and day out over and over and over that is really hard to translate into a few seconds of words. So I'll put that out there because I almost feel that I'm not going to give some people the justice they deserve. So first, 2 senior S's in the sportsmanship. So the first senior S goes to a quiet, calm, respected by all, and someone who gets the job done despite many kind of thinking that he's not going to. We were the same. We made him come back over and over and over when he wanted to come to Stanstead. So the first senior S goes to Tommy Scarfone. And the second senior S and winner of our sportsmanship trophy goes to a 200-foot forward who really is glue, one of the easiest persons to throw over the boards. Has the ability to play on the edge without crossing it, and truly is at his best when we are outmatched. Ups his game when we really need a calm influence, and that's Brendan McCarthy. We are going to give out 4 major S's. The first major S goes to a player who is, quite frankly, beyond his years. Handles pressure well, considering the pressure that is being thrown at him, and already treats the game like a pro. An elite passer with great hands for a big man. The first major S goes to Cole Huckins. A little bit of history, Cole's father was also a major S winner in hockey when he attended Stanstead College as well. The second major S goes to an elite scorer and a third-year Spartan. Many of you have seen Greg play and you've seen the goals this year and last. Few will remember that in grade 10 he spent the whole year on the 4th line and actually finished the year going down to the prep team to get a little bit of confidence. So Greg has come a long way. Still room to improve on the defensive side of the game, but he'll have to keep working. But a major S to Greg Lapointe. The third major S goes to a very cool and calm third-year Spartan who is truly having his best offensive year in the 3 years that he's been here. Plays hard, does so with a huge smile on his face all the time, leads by example in a positive way virtually all the time. Third major S to Andrew Moose. Final major S goes to an individual who is wise beyond his years. Last year went very unnoticed by the majority of people who watched our games. This is the thing where you got to be in there every single day and you got to see what someone can do to truly appreciate. But he's definitely been much more appreciated this year by people on the outside, and that is Richard Hall. The Dawes MVP trophy for hockey excellence and sportsmanship is going to be shared by two of our major S winners, and quite frankly, the key word for both of these is that they are great sportsmen, and that's Richard Hall and Andrew Moose.
Varsity girls hockey, Coach Pimm.
I've been told many times to keep it short, and I'll try. Bonsoir, mes amis. I'm working on it. Before I get started, there's a few thank yous that are pivotal, and Mr. Rioux mentioned them already, but I think we need to thank our board and our administration and our admissions who travel the world finding resources and support for the entire school and for sure for our hockey programs and our athletics in general. In the wake of the Humboldt Broncos tragedy, we need to thank Horizon Bus Lines and Jean, our core driver, for getting us to and from our destinations safe and sound. And many nights the roads haven't been great, and he's done just an amazing job. Personally, we also need to thank our health team or our training team, Olivia and Jade Sarah. We had an incident in a game against Navan where a young woman went down after an awkward collision. Reminded me of a player from Boston University years ago in my generation who was paralyzed in a hockey game, and fortunately she wasn't paralyzed, and Olivia and her team did just an amazing job that day on the ice, getting her into the ambulance. Clearly we need to thank the Mark and his staff, in particular Mario at the Pat Burns Arena, for stepping up on a few meals and always having the rink in impeccable shape. I personally need to thank Mr. Rioux. A lot of the teams that I've been asked to coach have been in shambles. They've been startups or turnarounds. This one was full of talent, full of character, and Mr. Rioux did just an amazing job recruiting a great group of girls that I'm very grateful and blessed to be coaching. And I need to thank Miss Jacobson and Miss Sharman, Sean, our goalie coach, and Mr. Angelini for doing just an amazing job in all aspects of our program. We have one of the best female programs in the country, and they're critical to that success, so I thank them. So I get asked a lot, why women? Why coach female hockey? And I guess it comes down to two reasons, frankly. The first one is a father of a daughter who never wants doors closed for her. I think athletics and being a student athlete in particular helps young women become more resilient and more prepared for a brighter future, and I firmly believe in that. The second reason is there's been many examples of how women have inspired me to be better, starting with my mom, who had my brother 49 years ago, had to leave high school early in the process, certainly not ashamed to say it, grew up in a part of the country that's probably the most chauvinistic part of the country, trained herself to become a regional bank manager for the CIBC Bank in a very male-dominated part of the country. We're reminded every day of feats of women. Just the other day, coach of the Georgia women's basketball team, the NCAA basketball team, coached a game on Thursday night, went to the hospital to have a baby, and was back courtside Saturday morning coaching. So, and another inspiration, Sister Joan, the the head of education at Gonzaga University, where I took my Master's of Education degree. She was a nun, she was a lawyer, she was the superintendent of the largest school district in the state of Washington, and she was just an amazing professor. Her favorite phrase rings true to me today: hard work done well feels good. And I think that kind of caps what our girls learned this year more than anything. We had a good year. Well, I want to back up one more on the feet of how strong women are. And it kind of relates to a question I also get asked: what's the difference between coaching women and men? And it's interesting because, you know, the more I think about it, you know, boys are known to be tough. Well, we had an assistant coach this year who had mono for 3 months. Her spleen was extremely enlarged before she finally decided to step off the bench and take herself to the hospital on a very snowy day. I think that's pretty tough. Our other assistant coach, Ms. Sharman, came back from China with an illness so bad that they had to put her in a bubble at the hospital. But where did she come before she went to the hospital? Well, of course, it was practice. I think that's pretty tough. I think, in my experience, boys care, boys are committed, boys compete, and so do girls. I've been on buses with boys and I've been on buses with girls, and based on the aroma in the bus, well, you can finish the final thought there. So there's similarities there as well. I'm just saying the hockey gear kind of smells the same. I think the biggest difference between boys and girls is girls don't forget. Girls never forget. And that makes us better coaches. When you coach boys for as long as I did, you get away with saying things, with doing things that are forgotten by the next day. Not so much with girls. And as I've said, I think it makes us better coaches. So just to cap off the season, as a full roster, we only played 15 games together as a group due to injuries, due to different events that happened. Over this course of 62 games, we finished with a record of 44 wins, 10 losses, and 8 ties. We had three girls go off to the Canada Games, 2 earned silver with Team Quebec. We had a number of commitments to the Division I level and others pending. And we just, on so many fronts, we had 8 players with 40 or more points, 6 players with 20 or more goals, and 3 defensemen with 30 or more points. We like to push the puck up ice. We like to score as much as possible. And the future is bright for Stanstead Varsity Girls Hockey. So it's just a great year on so many fronts. Yeah. One last example that I almost forgot about toughness was we had a player return from a major ACL surgery in just 185 days, revealing again just how tough women athletes can be. So kudos to Marianne for that. So I've got a few awards to hand out, and it's my first time, so I will try to do it as tradition allows me to. I think Senior S first. So our Senior S awards go to a group of 3 girls who, for me, exemplify teamwork, exemplify our core values of care and commitment, contribution, and leadership. Day in, day out, these girls made others around them better. And for that, Audrey Choi, Emily Fortunato, and Dominique Cormier receive a Senior S. I'd like to also hand out our Sportsmanship Award, and anybody that knows her, that sees her in the rink, in the room, on the ice, and around campus, knows how absolutely positive she is with all of us, no matter what the situation is. And also know how unique her story is, given the fact she's from Discovery Island or parts unknown. Erin Hinch receives our Sportsmanship of the Award as well. Okay. So with our major S's, we have 4 recipients. We'll do one at a time. This first player, it was weird with our season with girls being away at different times. Different players put the team on their back. And this player went through some adversity at the start of the year, adjusting to a new coach and adjusting to her role as a senior leader on the team. She's got just a tremendous future ahead of her. On the ice, she's an absolute warrior, and off the ice, she keeps us extremely happy and laughing all the time. Tam Thiris is our first major. This next major S goes to a young lady just in grade 10 who's got just an amazing future ahead of herself. She, in a lot of ways, reminds me of my favorite player of all time, who's Steve Yzerman. I love Steve Yzerman because he's a quiet leader. He lets his actions do all of his talking. And this young leader does the same. She wears an assistant captain for us. And there's players that are low maintenance, and then there's players that are no maintenance. And this young woman led our team in scoring with 75, 76 points. And, you know, for a long stretch to start the season, carried our team offensively. Laurence Fournette receives our next major S. We have 2 major S's left, and they both have some in common this year in the amount of perseverance that they had to show coming back from injury. The first one is a U.S.-born player that converted from forward to defense. She finished the season off with 41 or 2 points in just 50 games. And watching her last Sunday, the last 2 weekends, frankly, she's clearly the best player on the ice for either team. And to have her back next year is boding well for us. So Hannah Johnson, come up and get your major S. Our last major S, you know, is an amazing example of grit. And she's not just tough, she's not just talented, but she's extremely kind and compassionate, which makes her a very, very well-rounded person. Like so many of our girls, she's got an amazing future ahead of her, but to come back from the injury that she did, even before the injury, she hung up the jerseys, she sharpened the skates backwards, she fixed helmets, she taped sticks. I've never, frankly, seen anything like it in 25 years of coaching hockey. She's a perennial leader. Marianne Picard, come up and get your majoress. We decided on co-MVPs this year, and with such a talented team and with so many caring, committed, driven girls, it was a pretty excruciating decision. And I would say that one was clear in a way our MVP for the front 2/3 of the season, for sure. And the other one, once she came back from injury, was outstanding, particularly after Christmas. And our game really relies on good plays from the defense as well, getting the puck in the hands of the forwards. We like to use all 5 players in the offensive zone to generate offense. We like to change the point of the attack as much as possible. So both players play the game the right way every day. Hannah Johnson, Laurence Fournette, come on up and get your MVP.
Check. All right, final program of the night will be Senior Girls D2 Basketball. I will speak for this one. First things first, Mrs. Wolf, thank you for coaching with me. I call timeouts. You do everything else. It is working well. Secondly, I'm going to give the awards first and save my favorite part, talking about the team, for last. So there are 2 Senior S awards, as well as 2 players who will share the Sportsmanship Award, so all of you come up together. The first Senior S goes to Rosie Ladouceur. This is really only her 2nd year of playing basketball, but she picked it up fast. She's athletic and smart, but what sets her apart is how clinical she is. You tell her something, she analyzes what you tell her, and she puts all of her intelligence and focus and athleticism in doing exactly like it's supposed to be done. So supremely coachable, the ideal teammate. Her contributions on and off the court make her a deserving recipient of a Senior S. Congratulations, Rosie. The second Senior S recipient is also a co-winner of the Sportsmanship Award. And part of the reason why is because there is no way Alex Smith, sitting right over there, expected her name to be called tonight. Because despite how effective she was on the court this season, despite how far she's come as a defender, as a rebounder, and as a scorer, it was never really about basketball for Alex. It was only ever about the team, the vibe, the culture. Alex is one of the funnest and funniest people I know, and back in November, she decided to put all of her positivity and vitality into making this season amazing for herself and her teammates. She wasn't alone, that's for sure, but without her pumping her huge personality into every practicing game, every bus ride, restaurant stop, and locker room session, without her, the team would not have become the family that it did. Thank you, Alex. And the other co-recipient of the Sportsmanship Award is Abby Murray. I mentioned that Alex was not alone in creating a great team atmosphere, and Abby was her partner in crime. One word comes to mind when I think of Abby bouncing into practice, and that is joy. She was so happy to be there in the gym with her teammates, just kind of wide-eyed, just kind of waiting for the next opportunity to laugh or sing or do something Abby-ish or just make fun of herself. On the court, she gave all that she had. On the bench, no one cheered louder. And just by living the way she does, she reminds us all that life is good and sports makes it even better. Congratulations, Abby. All three of you, please come up, receive your awards. A major S goes to a player who may just have the highest basketball IQ of anyone I've ever coached. In one write-up this season, I actually remember writing, I can't remember the last time Emily Willis did the wrong thing during a basketball game. And this is not an exaggeration. We coaches spend most of our time on the bench wishing you players made different decisions. But not Emily. Her understanding of angles, leverage, where to be, how to finish, when to shoot, how to draw fouls, all the instinctive things, it's scary. On top of this, she is as fierce a competitor as there is, and she's the best shooter I've ever coached. She used to be underrated, but not anymore. Major S team captain, Emily Willis. The second major S, as well as the Best Ferguson MVP trophy for excellence and sportsmanship in girls basketball, goes to Mackenzie St. Pierre. Now, it's worthy of a woo. So this is no surprise, since Kenz is one of the best players in Quebec. There is not a single player I saw this year anywhere who can do all the things that she can do. But honestly, she could do them last year also. Where she grew this year was as a leader. Teams often take on the personality of their best player. And given this responsibility, Mackenzie chose to foster an atmosphere of inclusiveness. Despite being better at basketball than anybody else, it was never, ever about her. It was about her team. If Alex and Abby are the ones telling the jokes, Kenz was making sure that everyone was in on it and laughing together. For everything you did on and off the court, Major S and MVP trophy team captain, Mackenzie St. Pierre. Finally, about the team. The statistics are impressive. 33 wins versus 6 losses. We won our own invitational, we won the Montreal Independent Schools tournament, we hosted Anderson Bailey and took home the championship banner, and finally, for the 3rd time in this 60-year history of the tournament, we brought the McLeod Trophy back to Stanstead College. Basically, half the banners and trophies up here were won by you guys. That's a lot for you players to be proud of. But the thing is, I honestly don't know how much you guys care about those things. Because I've never coached a team that prioritized winning less than you guys. I preach all the time, obviously, about how winning is overemphasized in our society, but even me, I still loved when we won the McLeod. Like, I wore my medal the next day to school. But you guys, yeah, you were pleased with yourselves for reaching your potential, for stepping up in the big moment. You celebrated after the final buzzer went and smiled big and pretty for the photos after. But I'm willing to bet that most of you were just as excited for the sleepover in the gym that night. I learned something valuable this season. I had a bit of an epiphany. This is your team. It's not my team. It's not Coach Wolf's team. The best way for a team to reach its potential is to have the players take ownership of what it is you're trying to do. It's your drills. It's your offensive strategy. It's your defense. You own it. You decide what you want out of a practice, out of a game, and out of a season. You choose your team philosophy. Coaches are just experienced guides. And if your philosophy, win or lose, is to focus the majority of your efforts on how much enjoyment you can get out of playing together, out of working your butts off together, using basketball as a way to just be together, then who am I to dispute that? What kind of selfish person would I be to try to convince you otherwise? Because I think I know what you guys are going to remember about this season, and it won't be all the hardware behind me. It'll be bowling in Sherbrooke, how the old folks in the alley had to put up with how loud you were, and how much joy you all took in beating me. It'll be someone on the team anonymously giving little thank you notes and lollipops, and then doing it again tonight at supper. Thank you, Sam. It'll be defense on the bench in Geneva buying everyone muffins after the McLeod. It'll be pregame warm-up music, jar of hearts on the bus, and a little photo that Alice gave everyone a few weeks ago. It'll be senior night, hour-long knockout games, the gym sleepover, and ultimately just hanging out together in the best locker room atmosphere ever. That's what you'll remember, I'm sure of it. So congratulations and thanks you to all of you. You reached your potential on the court, you gave everything you could physically, and you created one of the most inclusive, fun, caring team environments I've ever been a part of. To all you graduates, I'm gonna miss you. To you returning players, all 4 of you, I can't wait until next year. Thank you all. All right, that's all the programs. Before wrapping up, I'd like to say one more thing about the legendary Vince Lombardi. So before he died, 100% true, he claimed that he was actually misquoted back in 1959. According to his biography, he claims that what he really said was, winning isn't everything, the will to win is the only thing. So, if Vince Lombardi can change his views on the importance of winning, we all can. Thank you all for your fine, excellent comportment this evening. Hold on. Congratulations to all award winners. Thank you, Mr. Murray, for taking all the photos. Huge thank you to all your coaches again, not just for tonight, the entire season. MVP trophy winners, please stay behind for a yearbook photo. When you return to the residences, there will be no study. Please stand as your coaches leave the church. Have a good night.
Good job.